Ladies and gentlemen, I know it was a little bit muted getting into the game, but we're finally here. We're finally good to go. And we're getting into the last series for Europe. It's the last best of 3 you're going to be CCast today for Europe. But like I said earlier and many times before, I'll be back tomorrow to help cover the remaining matches. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, spawning here in the bottom... Nope, excuse me. Good start. Top right side of the map. We got the red Zerg player, Elazer. His opponent to the bottom left side is going to be the most popular player who apparently gets 1 million whispers. It's PtitDrogo. Drogo, if you watch this VOD, I hate you. But no, in all seriousness, sorry, there's a little bit of confusion with like players being AFK, and I of course had messaged the players and they didn't see my whispers. So the point, it took a little bit longer for multiple different reasons, but we got it sorted. We're good to go, and we're in game. So the big thing about this one, this PvZ that I love, again, this is another situation like what we had with Lambo. I haven't seen a Elazer in a fair bit of time, but the last time I saw a Elazer was looking pretty good in his ZvP. So we'll see how and where he measures up here. Drogo, of course, has done a lot of training in Korea. He's been to that Korean house many times. I'm hoping his PvZ's looking good. Either way, the thing I particularly like about this is, at least based off of last recollection of casting each of these players, I would kind of put them close in skill. Like, we've had a lot of 2-0s today, and some of them have been upsets, but I would say Elazer and Drogo are a lot closer than I think some of the other matches today have been. So I'd be very excited to see where this goes. Drogo, of course, is always playing very classic. We haven't seen him play a lot of proxies. We haven't seen him play a lot of cheese. Maybe things have changed. I mean, we saw Lambo do the third base proxy. WCS is a lot of money, and for these guys, they're playing for a lot more on the line. So they're, I think, willing or practicing out of their comfort zone. But yeah, Drogo, Elazer, we'll see how it plays out. Either way, it's game 1 in this best of 3. And so far, nothing too weird. It is going to be a Twilight Council as the focus for Drogo. He's also putting his natural base to try and hide it from the scouting overlord. One thing Elazer has actually pretty classically done for, I want to say like at least a year at this point, is he does 1 overlord scout. You'll notice a lot of the other Zerg players we cast, like Lambo, for example, had 2 overlords and he'd hide them over the little cheeky spots. Elazer classically does just 1 overlord, and it does this versus Terran too, so he doesn't have that backup scout. But I guess if this Ling sees the Twilight Council, okay, that works out really well for him. It's not terrible, it's not awful, it's not the end of the world to lose that overlord. It sucks being supply blocked this early and having to spend another 100 minerals on an overlord. It certainly sets Elazer back, but I don't think it shuts him down. But this Twilight Council was not going to be for Resonating Glaives, and it's not going to be for Charge or Blink. It's going to be for Dark Shrine, which I don't think this part got scouted. He did put that down after the Link had been dealt with. So, as much as I want to get really hyped for some cheesy DTs out of Drogo, there are some Protoss players who will take the element of you warping your 4 DTs to make the Archons as you classically would. But if your opponent doesn't have a Spore Crawler, you just walk into the base and either focus down the Queens or focus down the Hatchery. If you pull that off, then you can make the Archons later, and you're just so much better off for it. But a lot of that's going to be dependent on Elazer. If Elazer has a, for example, just a blind Spore Crawler down, and you can see the DTs, Drogo won't be provided that option, and he'll have wasted time. Otherwise, just make the Archons right away and do your micro. Oh, thank you for the kind words about that map intro. Yeah. All map intros have been made by me and my good friend Origa Capella. We work hard on them. So when you guys say you like them in chat, it makes me very happy. Smile on my face. Warp Prism starts heading across the field, and like I said, we'll keep an eye on what his tactics are for this. I think for Drogo, he'll probably just make the Archons right away. I don't know if he's going to do cheeky DTs. Oh, I take it back. Totally wrong. So, again, with an Overseer out, these DTs will not work out for him the way he wants them to. But if he does retreat these and they don't die, he just turns them into Archons. So he can do the typical Protoss harass that players like Zest and others have kind of set in as far as standard for years. So he's going to lose one of these DTs right away. Gets nothing, not even a single drone. Second DT hits the natural base. Looks like main's been pushed off. Nice pullback out of Elazer. So 2 drones die so far. Oh, this is going to be hilarious. So he recalls the DT. I wish I checked the vision sooner. I don't think you can see the recall animation. Maybe you can. Elazer is satisfied. He just goes back to mining. So I guess he knows the DT's out of the base. So second Archon comes into play, and the Adepts come in for some harass. The thing about this, though, is it's not going to be great. This is a consolation prize off of a failed attack. And the time of this, pushed back another 30 seconds or so, instead of going in right away, means Elazer has things like roaches out to help defend, instead of just barely hatching as the Archons attack. So this is not such a freebie situation for Drogo. In fact, his Archons are already really damaged from this. The Adepts are the surprise, though. Elazer not quite fully prepared for this, but he does react quickly. So drones get pulled into the action, help with the Queens. A little bit of bad AI from those Adepts, and Drogo only gets 5 kills. He's cleaning up some creep, which is nice, but let's be perfectly clear, guys. This opening has not gone as well for him as he wished it would. Still, though, with good micro, gets some good use out of this. A laser supply block twice over now. Third base gets set up back at home for Drogo, so he's using the attack and the aggression to cover himself a bit. Of course, if everybody's defending at home, then nobody's attacking, and you're free to take a third and a fourth and a fifth, etc., etc. Not off of just this one attack, of course, but the point is Drogo's expanding, and he's not all in with this. Not yet, at least. Mistake being made here, perhaps? He's making 2 Templar Archives? There's only one thing to research on it, so there really is no reason for the second one. I do believe this was a misclick in the main. I think that's supposed to be a gateway with all the other gateways. It's funny to see because at a pro level, you don't expect someone like Drogo to make such a basic mistake. I don't think he'll lose the game for this, but on the upside, if the Templar Archives and the Natural get sniped, he'll have the one in the main to work with. Jokes aside, though, this Roach attack worked out way better than the Adept one did. 9 probes end up dying to this. 9 drones have died in total, I guess, but look at that worker disparity. 70 to barely 60. And I think that's Drogo. Yeah, he's trying to chrono boost to catch that up. And the Archons continue. 8 kills on one, 7 on the other. Really not crazy effective, but they have kept a good chunk of the army back at home, so it's kind of working out, all things considered. Eldritch Quaker, hey, thank you for the 6-month resub. Roaches coming down to the south side are not going to find the easy attack that those first 3 did. Drogo does have an army somewhat in position for this, between lots of Immortals and a couple of DPs. Defending the Roaches should be fairly easy. We have a Nidus Room coming out of Elazer. I do feel like this is such a standard building to see accompany ground units. But as you guys saw in the series prior, Showtime with some good patrolling and leaving like just 2 or 3 units in each base, he shut down any attempt at Nidus play out of Lambo. Granted, Lambo still ended up doing very well and winning, but the point is Niduses don't have to be balance whining late game ending, as players know how to respond to them nowadays. The first like month of that Nidus Worm change, though, like, nobody was winning against Nidus Worms. Drogo's got his army kind of walking around the south. Really going around the outside of the map. I guess trying to avoid getting scouted. It's a little unfortunate losing that, actually. Changeling. Okay, this is out of vision. Oh, no way. Somehow this is right at his front door and yet out of vision. In the meantime, looks like a couple DTs have started to go ham in the mineral line, so 12 drones die. Nidus Room pops up right at the front door. Knock, knock. Who's there? It's me, Elazer. Actually, I got a good, better knock, knock. Knock, knock. And then you would say, who's there? I would say, dishes. And you would say, dishes who? And I'd be like, dishes me. Who-ish you? But my terrible jokes aside, Elazer gets his army across the map. Yes, the Night's Storm goes down, but this is such a big army to contest. Yeah, there's some storms in this. That's pretty nice, but... oh, he's dodging them so well. Storm over here did practically nothing. Storm here did practically nothing. There's still like 4 or 5 more where that came from, but he's really got to hit these Hydras, because if he doesn't, then Elazer might just surround him from 2 different sides. That top one was a little bit awkward. I'm not sure what that maneuvering was there for Elazer. This army's going to want to walk away, probably get to that Nidus Worm. It's a quick evacuation in a pinch, but never mind. The other units just continue to push out of the Nidus Worm. New one gets built up here on the high ground, so this will allow Elazer to bounce back and forth between 2 locations fairly easy. He is up like 40 army supply, but this isn't in pure roaches. There's a lot of this is in Hydras. There's an attack in the main base going on. Nice retreat to use the choke against the Zealots. Otherwise, this defense might have been impossible with those units, but the attack on the other side of the map is not exactly going super well for Elazer either. A lot of these Hydras are so badly injured, like a single storm is going to finish them off. Big execution. Nidus Storm in the main base should be dealt with. 2 DTs come in to just snipe it down. Yeah, even with all of its health, DTs have got the damage. Another DT, by the way, from Drogo. This one's on 11 kills total. It's the same one from earlier. Grabbing some more drones, a couple of Hydras perhaps, while Elazer continues to try and execute this Nidus Worm, but not going to happen. Drogo's on the defense. Nicely done. Pushes into the 3rd base, though. Is Drogo on the defense over here? A couple of cannons and a shield battery deter these Hydras, but if Elazer really wanted to commit, he could break down that defense fairly easy. He's just a bit scared of the army, which I think rightfully so, when you've got 9 High Templar all with storms ready to go. I think Elazer is missing lurkers from part of his composition here, having a place to fall back to where a unit just snipe away from a distance. The hardest thing you are witnessing, of course, is these Hydras. They just can't commit. If they do, storms absolutely destroy them. So some dodging and weaving, buying some time. Drogo's doing an okay job pushing this off. He's been down about 30 to 40 army supply at any given moment, so it's still terrifying for him. A couple Zealots charge in, but oh, those storms are to finally fry up those Hydras, but not without a cost to Drogo's own army. He's losing Zealots. He's losing everything on the front line. He's bleeding out some High Templar. Oh boy. Attacking the main base goes off. There is detection now, so the DTs won't be the easy mode defense out of Drogo. Pulls these Templar up, but they can just retreat into the Nidus Storm. Save down here. All these units can get out of here alive if they need to. But they're not. They're committing to the fight. He actually sends the Hydras over to the mineral lines. Drogo's still on like 70 probes. I don't know how much it hurts to really kill workers. Elazer may have been better off just getting those Hydras out of there, but you know what? Kills are kills, and it's 8 probes down. Nidus Storm on the right side I thought was going to get killed by 4 Immortals, but Hydras pop out to defend it. Elazer pushing Drogo back into his own base. And while this has gone on, Drogo, of course, has been stuck on just 3 bases. Elazer's happily on 4. Resources lost favoring Drogo. That comes down to some of the cost efficiency thanks to storms. Where's that army supply graph, though, huh? Oh, my God. Drogo's actually had a really low army supply in general over the course of the game, but the key thing is here. This slam, excuse me. Slope? Do I know math? Hello? Anyways, that slope is almost unchanging for Drogo. But for Elazer, it's a huge steep fall off. So, on one hand, it's really cool watching Drogo take these fights, these almost impossible battles where he's doing really well. But he's still not pushing back. He's still not getting across the map. He was trying, right? He had DTs, he had pokes, but Elazer also defended all those. So, the army supply right now is the closest it has been all game. And I think income-wise, for Elazer, given enough time, his army will overtake Drogo again. But these Nidus Worms have been causing a lot of chaos, and Drogo doesn't have anything in the main base stopping it. I don't think he even sees it. Chases the Nidus over here, but all those Hydras retreated safely into it, so they pop out in the main. No detection this time, so the DTs are a little bit dangerous. But this is, okay, this right here is the power of the Nidus Worm, right? It's 50 minerals, it's 50 gas. It's not exactly free to constantly been losing. In fact, how many of these has he lost? 8 Nidus Worms, right? That's expensive. But the logic is you keep dancing left to right, and Drogo's army should be too slow to respond. And that's where you're supposed to get the damage and the effectiveness out of it. So I really love the execution out of Elazer, using the Nidus the way he has been. Drogo's 4th base going to get denied here, which is huge. Because keep in mind, that main base is empty. The natural bases get low. Third base is his only base mining. Like, at some point here, as Elazer happily expands while he's still taking losses to DTs, he's going to have money. Drogo will run out of money before Elazer does at this rate. But, of course, good battles change things around, and Elazer's slow response to the DTs. 19 drones died, and a lot of them are not presently mining. So this overall, a great counterattack out of Drogo. I'm not sure quite how he pulled it off. I saw him walk some DTs out, and the Overseer and the Hydras were on top of them, so I stopped looking, but I guess 1 or 2 got around them. 9 kills on this bad boy, 23 drone kills. This is pretty nice. The funny thing is, though, Elazer actually has enough drones that with a gold base, I feel like he's still okay in terms of income. In fact, we'll watch this for a little bit. Oh my god, Elazer's been okay with income prior to those DTs getting in here just now. Okay, well, 4th base goes down for Drogo again. I don't know if Elazer actually has the army to push in and break this. A lot of his larva right now is being spent on replacing the economy, so drones, for example, but I don't know. Things aren't looking so hot for Elazer. I think a lot of his momentum and a lot of his steam has really started to fall off. Do you guys smell that? It smells like shit. Oh, it was Wardy. Wardy, thank you for the 46-month resub. Can you get your series to hurry up? Thanks. Dude, Wardy, my series took a million years to get started, my guy. But yeah, hey, big thanks to Wardy. And I've been talking about it all day. I'm not just saying this because he's sub, but Wardy's been casting a lot of the matches. So is Zombie Grub. So have I. If you guys want to check out more of those, I think we're all casting the America series too. So yeah, be sure to check out and visit all the channels. That's Wardy with 3 eyes. Well, 4 eyes technically, because he's got glasses. But yeah, twitch.tv/Wardy, twitch.tv/ZombieGrub for all the different B streams covering the WCS Winter Round of 8. Big storms! Grabbing these Hydras. Elazer a little bit scared that Nidusworm was supposed to finish and be his escape route. Instead, a lot of his army gets cooked up here. Another Nidusworm on the right side. Big attack towards the 3rd base. More storms waiting for him! And these cannons, I just want to give a quick highlight to these cannons. They haven't done a ton of damage this game, but they have been doing a great job at keeping this army from just pushing in blindly to the base. Looks like Drogo's going to hold on the top, deal with this Nidusworm. Even with more roaches popping out, it's barely enough. Another Nidusworm comes out to replace the one he thought he was going to lose. He is likely going to lose, but all of his army being up there, at least this base unguarded. 2 cannons won't stop this attack, especially with the pylon going down. Oh, this is rough. He's got like a handful of units. Those 9 Templar. His big army supply from earlier has dwindled down to 1, 1, 1, 4, 3, and 2. There's just simply not a lot of units on the field for Drogo. But what units there are do have +3 weapons. And I think that's where the Archon's going to be really powerful going forward. But my fear from earlier still stands. Drogo is struggling for cash. He has been for a majority of this game. Elazer's just absolutely killing it on the income graph. I mean, and a big part of that's the gold base. Hey, we got a sub coming in. By the way, I missed that too from Trude. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Enjoy your ad-free viewing. Again, just a little bit of an advertisement here, guys. If you're sick of ads on Twitch, you can get rid of them on our channel by subscribing. You know you're supporting a good channel. You know you're supporting like some good StarCraft too. So yeah, if you sub, you don't get ads. It's one of our perks we offer. Also, if any of you guys missed the WCS VOD casting from earlier today, you can always go back on our Twitch and check that out. Be up on our YouTube later, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV and the number 2. But hey, Elazer taking an okay defensive fight here. He's ultimately going to push this back, but doesn't want to keep mining off the base. It's far too risky, so he'll transfer the drones over here. That might be a mistake, because there's a small attack coming. No, not with the Overseer. That DTE is just going to be on the run. I kind of almost wish Drogo would have gone for Blink on DTs. I hate to say it, but I think it would have been nice, is how effective they've been. Of these 56 drones killed, I'm pretty sure like 55 of them have been all DTs. So I'm slapping that top side. Slapping the base. Takes down that hatchery. So he does slap at the base. Right out of existence. Archon's going to take a lot of the damage here on that front line. There's not enough storms though to take a real fight. There's like maybe 1 or 2 storms left in this. And Elazer regroups once again. But Elazer's supply is getting really out of hand. Like, when Drogo had 9 High Templar, I could argue the army supply difference was manageable. But the fact is, he's on, like, 50 army supply. He doesn't have a lot of Templar. He's just warped in a couple now. So, okay, 6 isn't too terrible. But it just doesn't look like the army he had before. DT's coming in for another bout of harassment. But, yeah, Elazer's got an overseer here, so that's not going to work out for him. Long distance mining, because he can't quite afford a hatchery as he continues to build up that army. Big army here on the left side. Drogo taking another base down here to the south. I'm not sure when he got that expansion off, but thank God he did. These DTs don't realize they could have taken a fight. No overseer here on the front line. Makes it into an Archon. DTs would be amazing here, actually. But Storms go slapping on that front line. Most of them exhausted, so he turns them into an Archon. Zealot's coming back home for the defense. Elazer really pushing in, thinking he's crushing Drogo's economy, and he is. Drogo's got another base down there to the south to fall back to, but there's a Nidus Swarm about to pop up out of it. That dirty Changeling looks like a defensive unit, but I think this is it, guys. Because even though Elazer's going to maybe get killed up here, he can't stop. Well, okay, it's only 2 Hydras, but he can't get down here in time to respond, and he has to. This base is a critical mining base, but Elazer, I think, has misprioritized his units. If he kills that base, Drogo's SOL. Or even just the probes on the base. Drogo's on 35 probes in general. That's a really low worker count. Okay, Nidus Worm gets killed. How many Nidus Worms have we had this game? 14 Nidus Worms over the course of this game. 30 probes dead between 2 bases. I think this is it for Drogo, guys. We're seeing the finishing moves being placed. A couple DTs desperate for a defense, but 22 army supply, 22 worker supply. Not looking good for our Protoss. Yeah, Elazer's just pushing through with brute force and numbers at this point. Before the game's over, quick peek at the income. And I mean, this is what it's looked like all game. 20 minutes in, and the income's favored Elazer throughout most of these battles. Another Nidus Storm down here at the bottom right. This one's got an overseer, so the DTs will not hold. Shield batter. I mean, a lot of these units are just kind of AFK on the ramp. He's focused really, I think, on that bottom right base. That's fine. Finish that up. Come over to the left side. Storm's going down. GG's finally get called. Elazer, 22 minutes later, takes the game. What a scrappy ZvP. But I do want to point out, I told you guys I really thought these guys were close in skill, and I think that game certainly reflects that to a degree, just with how back and forth it ended up getting. But map number 2 is going down on year 0. So let me just get this hosted. And like I said, everybody's trying to join this game because I think all the other matches are pretty much wrapped up. So this will take about a minute to get this hosted up. Drogo, Elazer, game 2. All right, let's try and get everybody in here. Gotta get our French boys in. Gotta get our Polish boys in. Gotta get our players in. Man, I really don't like being sick. It is making this a lot more difficult to cast, but hopefully it's not coming through too much. I know I keep talking about it. Maybe I should just not talk about it and draw attention to it, but I'm still recovering. Thank you guys so much for dealing with it. Hey, when did I get gifted a sub? Thanks to whoever gave it to me. Hey, man, enjoy your ad-free viewing. Give me a sec here. I'm just gonna... I'm gonna get super high with my inhaler. Okay. Players say they're ready. Let's get into year 0. Hey, Rob Athari, thank you very much for the 57 months. All right, folks, like I said, it's the end of Europe's last best of 3 for the round robin portion of today. As I said many times, that we'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, or 3 CET if you're from Europe. Well, 3 p.m., excuse me. But game number 2 kicks off, and in the top left, he took a hard fight, a long loss, but a great game. It is going to be the red PtitDrogo. PtitDrogo. To the top right, it is, of course, his opponent with a 1-0 on the board, 21 minutes in deep. It's Elazer. I think one of the most heartbreaking parts about that game was just how well Drogo was playing, all things considered. He was responding well. He was doing DT harass. I mean, he killed so many workers that game with those DTs. I liked everything in terms of like his pacing. I think what really got him though was Elazer's aggression holding him back on those bases as long as it did. And Elazer, I don't want to say, like, I didn't call it in game for good reason. I don't think at any point he was intentionally going for like a big all-in. But at some point, I think it was like around 4 bases, he stalled. He didn't rush out at 5th base while he was attacking. He was not pushing out more drones. He was, I think, sitting on about 60 for a while. I think there's a lot of ways Elazer could have really extended his lead, but he had more income than Drogo for 95% of that game. And I think I have no criticism on his win. I just feel like there was opportunities where he could have maybe even done it better or faster or had bigger leads. Drogo, of course, I'm sure will be a little deterred from using DTs after watching how well Elazer responded to them. All things considered, I just finished saying, well, he got a lot of kills. What do you mean, Rifkin? But I think it's one of those things where you get away with it once in a series. I don't know if you get away with it twice. Drogo also with those Archons, like it goes back to even the beginning of the game, right? The Archons were delayed because he chose to go with DTs. That got cleaned up right away. And I think if he had just gotten straight with Archons, they'd be there for the Roaches, they would have got drone kill. And maybe it would have been Drogo who controlled the pacing of the game. But that's like a butterfly effect. That's what if. He's changed his tech path this game. I like Stargate openers for Protoss in general. I think they're a lot stronger. I think they're a lot safer in all scenarios except for like an early Ling all-in. So for Drogo's sake, I think he'll be able to control the game, at least in the early game, a little bit more easily without such risk attached to it. The big question actually comes down to mostly whether it's a double Stargate that leads into a double Robo, or if he just goes straight to the Robo. Either way, for Elazer's sake, he's just taking a 3rd base. There's not really a lot for him to worry about. He knows that at most there's like an Adept on the way, maybe an Oracle. For us, we know it's definitely an Oracle. He hasn't scouted this yet or anything. Has not been to the main base. And as I said, Elazer classically just does 1 Overlord Scout. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but the limitations are, well, you got caught, so now it can't float around until speed's done, or if he wants to just sacrifice it. And even if he does, he might not even make it to the main. So a little bit awkward there in terms of what this Overlord can scout. Skirting around that big Amon-y looking thing. The first Oracle's going to hit that main base, but there's a Spore Crawler down. Sadly, she can't stick around for too long. In fact, wow. 1 kill and almost dead. Feels bad. But she'll be met with a 2nd Oracle. There we go. Coming across the map. Couple of Adepts. Maybe a big blitz move to attack one of the bases. Oracles could just kill the Queens while the Adepts do the workers. Hey, PvT Wings! Thank you very much for the 37 months. Saturday, work later. At least I got stream till then. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll be covering the WCS America matches too. I don't know when those start because of how long the series is going, how much downtime we'll have, but if you guys missed the announcement, I'll be casting Estrella versus Scarlet as our first series over there, unless something changes. Continues to walk around, doesn't get much. Alright guys, I need you to all restore my faith in humanity for a moment. I didn't watch these Oracles get poked away. Great defense, good reactions out of Elazer so far. We got like 1,500 people tuning in and like no chat activity. I know a lot of this is people just multi-twitching and kind of moving around, but if you're here in my chat, actively here, not AFK, and you're just enjoying the game, that's fine. Don't feel compelled to do this, but can I get me a good old Kappa check? We'll go old-fashioned on this one. Has anyone got the golden Kappa? I just want to see people. want to see faces. I want to make sure you guys aren't a bunch of robots in my Twitch chat. So hit me up with that Kappa check, everybody. If anyone has the golden Kappa, you are lucky. Oracles barely get out of there alive. This bad boy's got how much health on him? 13. I hate the WCS 3.0 overlay. 13 health as Oracle. Living is big, though. Not only does this end up being stasis traps in Revelations, but it is still like helping against the roaches and things like that. So it's better to have 2 Oracles than none. But if they go back in now, he might just have none. Ah! Okay. Falling back. Drogo's gonna work on his third base, I guess. Macro coming up a little bit with the Templar Archives. I kind of forgot he had built 2 of these in the last game. I don't know if he knows that he built 2 of these in the last game. I know it's a little bit awkward, but he's gonna be going for charge. He's pushing out Chrono on the +1. So Drogo's getting all of his tech out of the way. There's that storm. I was expecting that to start up pretty much immediately. He had really good storms last game. Like his storms versus the Hydras were super cost effective, even though he missed a good chunk of them. So you just, it's pretty evident how big of a deal area of effect damage is versus Zerg, and storms cover that. And it is going to be a lot of Hydras and Roaches again. Elazer, of course, last game, I think a lot of credit goes to his Nidus Worms. He lost like, what, 18 or something? Like a lot of Nidus Worms died that game. But they were the big reason why Drogo was constantly torn left and right. Why there was openings to even go for 2 different attacks simultaneously in some instances. Because I think no matter how you look at this, no matter how good of a player you are, I don't think you can take on a Protoss army head on. You're not just moving and hoping that his army messes up. You know there's going to be good storms and force fields, defensive structures. So you've got to split that army. In a lot of cases, you do that with their air units. You know, carriers are slow, etc. But Elazer was able to do that in game 1 with the Nidus Worms constantly going left, right, left, down, left, right, up, down. Just Drogo never quite on top of them as perfectly as you could be. But we see no Nidus Worm. And I'm a little bit curious about this because I think in terms of like getting a big Nidus Worm off that wins the game, yeah, it was not effective. But in terms of like being a really great method to harass his opponent, I really, really liked it. So as I'm saying all this, he does finally plop one down. I guess just maybe priorities were elsewhere for the time being. And that's fine. He's on 4 bases. He's got a pretty good army count. A lot of drones too, sitting on 76. His +2 weapons are on the way, as well as other various upgrades. But unfortunately, at the moment, there doesn't look to be a great way to use the Nidus Worm. No detection, no vision, no anything to really go plop one down just yet. So he may just end up using it to back up his front line. The Void Ray I kind of like actually a lot out of Drogo. You know there's going to be a lot of Overlords, Overseers, and in general just things floating around the map. You want to clean those up as quick as you can. Void Ray will get the job done. Zealot run by into the main base. Whew. Not getting that much done, but a bit of a distraction. Not sure how much of a distraction though, because up on the top side we got wait. What? Was that on purpose? Or is that like the sickest misclick? I feel like this might be on purpose because when Elazer goes for the attack, he knows there's going to be an opening for that Warp Prism to come back to the main, so that this Nidus Worm would be a way to fall back and respond immediately. But at the same time, I'm also like, that's a really stupid way to go about doing it when you can just like leave a couple units. Okay, I say stupid very tentatively. What I mean to say, it's different, okay? I just think this looks silly. But maybe, honestly, if this ends up acting like a recall and you can bring units back home to defend the main base, then it's great. Attack on the right side here is being pushed off. Good defense out of Drogo. Ooh, Stasis Trap grabs a lot of the Hydras and the Roaches on that front line here in the bottom left. Ooh, things are getting a little bit awkward. Right side here, dodges a storm unintentionally, grabs a Templar. That's a nice pick off. Nidus Worm's going to be a way for him to retreat or possibly reinforce. Continuing to push the SU on the bottom side. There's more storms. These Hydras can't just sit in those storms, though. Elazer's got to back away. Losing out a lot on these health on these units. He's not going to be able to continue fighting. Nidus Worm near the watchtower. I guess this one got pushed off too. There's still that Nidus Worm in the main base because there's a Warp Prism sitting nearby. Round like 5 to the south going off simultaneously. Just a lot of action going down. And this is exactly what I expected out of Elazer based off of just watching him in game 1. Like if this was a nameless player, I didn't know who Elazer was. My pickup from this is he's really good at splitting Protoss left and right. But look at this. Drogo's actually prepared a cannon in the main base. A cannon can pierce the thick armor of a Nidus Worm. That's really cool to see. I like that. And it's not going to cost them army supply. Because the worst thing is, like, if you got to leave 2 DTs and, like, a Zealot patrolling your main base, you're just missing out on a good chunk of army supply. But these Hydras are starting to break the Archons. There's not a lot of Storms left behind this. New Zealot Warpins might be able to push off the Hydras, but he was able to successfully protect that Nidus Warp. So 4 Hydras get out, skirting around the left side, looking for those probe kills. Cannon distracting him. Oh my god, so many Storms coming down to these Hydras, though. And if he can kill the Hydras, then Drogo's got the defense, but Cannon goes down. Hydra's starting to get cleaned up. That Void Rays on a couple of kills here, pushing off things like Overseers and Overlords. Right side, that's... Oh, another Nidus Worm gets cleaned up. The Lazer's going to have to chill out for a bit, bruh. What's his income looking like? Whoa, Drogo is actually not doing too bad keeping up with the Elazer this time. It's been a little bit back and forth. Elazer, over the last few minutes, has been looking a little bit better than Drogo. Army supplies have been trading out crazy, too. This graph looks insane. Watching that huge jump just fall off. That's all the Storms right there, too. You know it. Oh, I like this Immortal. He's accidentally out of position, but that does let him snipe off the Nidus Worm. Not sure if he'll get out of this alive, but hey, an Immortal for that Nidus might just be worth it. The Nidus isn't so expensive as an Immortal, but it is that transportation system. We got a Tempest out of Drogo and a Mothership. I don't know about the Tempests. Building more of them now. I guess he's expecting a Broodlord transition. I mean, the beauty is that you can use them at range to not commit to a fight. So, hey, you know what? There are plus sides to a Tempest, but I really don't think they're going to be that effective in terms of like scrappy fighters. Their attack's just too long, too slow. But units keep forcing him to go back and forth, back and forth. And as we're witnessing, Drogo's army supply is finally starting to get whittled away. A lot of those Templar earlier morphed into Archons, so those are just gone. No more Storms in that regard. A couple of defensive structures, of course, will help deter an attack, but they won't stop an attack. Nice stasis trap, though, here. Right side's got a Nidus Worm, almost dead. Yeah, there's that prismatic alignment. Kills the Nidus, backs away. New Archons coming to the front lines. Top side still got that fight going on. I'm really sad he hasn't had to use this Nidus Worm, by the way. I really want to justify him putting a Nidus Worm in his main base, but not the case just yet. These Archons are starting to pop off. Void Ray is going to back away. I mean, this was a really cost-effective Void Ray. Even if it dies, it had 12 kills on it, and some of those were just straight up the Nidus Worms. So I would say worth in most cases. Drogo is on 4 bases. So he's got economy, whereas last game, you guys remember he was stuck on 3 for a long time, constantly pushed off as his bases were mining out. So I think that's a big part of why we're seeing the income actually keep up with the Elazer in a lot of regards. But the Elazer has, with these extra expansions, started to take a little bit of a lead back in his case. Interesting recall here on the Zealots, gets them back home, saves a couple. Hey, I guess why not? You know, you're not using the energy for Chronos right now. And that Mothership's going to be a really interesting change in the battle. There's going to be Overseers, so I don't know if detection will necessarily be the problem, but it will selectively change where some engagements can go down. Like if the Tempest, for example, snipe off the Overseer before the battle begins and there's only one, then a Elazer can't fight. That Nidus from, or the Cloak from the Mothership's just going to be too much. Nidus Worm comes up down here to the south. How many have died this game? We're at 11 dead Nidus Worms so far. They're not that expensive, but they do cost money and gas. So, you know, 50 minerals, 50 gas. That adds up. Stranger in a strange land. Thank you for the Twitch. Oh, not even for Spawn. Just thank you for subbing. Hey, straight up. How many Templar in this army? We got about 10 Templar split. I think a couple are down here. Yeah, so he's got about 6 or so in this army. That's a good amount of Storms. Elazer, you know what, the thing about Elazer is he's not had to deal with counter harassment in this game, right? Last game we had the DPs constantly across the map, warp-ins, zealots, you name it. Okay, so this wasn't an accident. He's actually intentionally disarming his bases to respond better, I suppose. But my point and the highlight for this is Drogo last game did like a crazy amount of harass and still lost. This game has been a very different style from him. He's gone for a more bulked up army. He's got more of like an ultimate composition that wants to take a one head-on engagement rather than deal with this harassment. So pushing back across the map, he uses a time warp, which is funny. It is pretty effective nowadays, but it's just still not used all that much. Big storms coming around this main army, and Elazer does have a little bit of money to work with, but not a lot. This isn't like a Zerg bank that's 5k deep. So he's actually really struggling to deal with this. The Overseers, of course, are here so they can clean up and actually fight the units, but He's gonna snipe off the last Overseer. Now those roaches can't see Jack squat. The Hydra's gone, so they can't kill the mothership. Elazer's army is just falling apart. It's 10 Hydras in production. Actually, there's no War Prism here, though. That's another fear. I guess Zealots are just walking across the map on Rally. Still, though, limited detection through these Overseers. Tempest don't exactly have amazing damage. Oh, that Hacker's got 9 health left. He does knock it down with the Zealot. Okay, nice swing there. But my point was, if he can keep sniping off the Overseers at range with the Tempest, I mean, that's actually a really great move. Elazer at some point is going to have like 17 Overseers just to even engage. It's going to be expensive to even fight, you know? Still, though, we're heading towards like another 20-minute game at this rate. Yikes. ZvP can sometimes be really short or pretty long. Nice Time Warp comes down. This will force him to move. Time Warp slows the attack speed of units that are stuck inside of it, as well as the movement speed, so really puts a hurt on Hydralisks. GG's get called. Drogo ties up this series 1-1. Oh, I hope I muted that. But okay. We are going to game number 3. Didn't expect it out of this series, but at the same time, I'm very happy because it reaffirms for me that these guys are on a pretty close level to one another, that they are, as I've said many times, well matched. But we're going to host this lobby up. I need to take a quick breather, guys, so be right back in a couple of minutes. All right, guys, we're just going to hop right into game. It's map number 3. Things are tied up 1-1 for Europe. And again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We are going to spawn here in the bottom right with our blue Zerg. It is, of course, Elazer. Whoops, I don't know why that got queued. Pardon me. And his opponent to the upper left side of the map, we have the red PtitDrogo. Or PtitDrogo. I think after DreamHack, he was supposed to no longer be PT. He was supposed to just be Drogo, but yeah, we've seen some pretty much the same out of Elazer in both games, despite the change up from Drogo. This is kind of okay to me because it's got a standard set. You know, Roaches and Hydras will work well in most cases, but the Nidus, the Nidus play in that last game, in game 2, to me wasn't nearly as impressive as game 1. He lost more Nidus Worms in game 1 because he took bigger risks and I think got better rewards for it. But at the same time, Drogo changing things up, great for him. You know, the Stargate play ended up really working well for him in the late game. Mothership was a huge addition. We witnessed a real big struggle out of our Zerg player to tackle the detection issue. And Drogo with Tempest, I didn't expect the Tempest to be as effective as they did, but like 6 or 7 of them could one-shot an Overseer, so it really limited Elazer's ability to fight. But one thing I think I saw pretty consistent between game 1 and game 2 was the dynamic of Hydras and Storms. Drogo has just, I wish, while we have like a units lost counter and stuff like that, I wish we had like a Storms cast counter, because I would love to know just how many Storms Drogo's cast in each of these games. As he's been, I want to say, pretty reliant, pretty dependent on Storms keeping him afloat in these matches. But as I said, Elazer so far through 2 different games has played exactly the same. To me, the best thing Elazer could do is change it up here for game 3 and try and throw Drogo for a bit of a loop. But ultimately, Elazer plays very well standardly. He plays very well just in a general macro sense. He might not need to change anything up at all, but just change up timings and the angles of attacks type thing. All right, Lee's gonna head across the map. One chases the probe, one goes for a scout. I guess double checking for a proxy. The one Overlord here on the left side of the map sees the Adept come out though. Maybe not checking for a proxy, but just like a way around the map since he knows there'll be the intercept on that Adept. Because he does pull back his other Zergling, which, I don't know, some players get pretty careless about. They just let the Zergling die, because let's be honest, it's just a Zergling. Who cares in most situations? But, yeah, Elazer taking care. I see a lot of arguments in chat, and I know I'm 3 minutes behind, guys, but I see a lot of people discussing Nidus Worms pros and cons and OP or not. Here's my thoughts on it, right? When the Nidus Worm first came out with its big changes, it was so broken. It was so, like, how could anyone deal with this, right? But then players start kind of figuring it out a little bit. You've got Blizzard also intervening with changes, and I feel like it's one of those things where you give the players enough time, they will adjust. They will find ways to play around it. We've seen this with, I think Terran versus Zerg was a good highlight with battlecruisers. For the first month or so, like, a battlecruiser just comes across the map and wins the game. Then Zerg players figure out extra queens and spore crawlers, stop that, and it doesn't work as effectively. And it takes time to develop these counters. And what I like right now in terms of what this matchup has looked like between these 2 players in particular, right? I'm not referencing Koreans or anything else like that, but between these 2 guys, it's just kind of shown like Nidus Worms do work and they also don't work. And that to me actually looks like good balance. So you guys can have all the thoughts and complaints and however you feel about a Nidus Worm is fine. I personally feel right now it's in an okay spot. I still think they should tweak it a little bit more. But I do like the, what's the word here? I guess options combined with mobility it gives the Zerg. Those aren't the words I was looking for it, but that's kind of how I'll describe it. Because I think the thing we saw out of everybody before this Nidus change was you'd see, what, the 7 Overlords morph into the Drop Overlord. You'd see Drop Overlords basically sacrifice Roaches and Hydras to a main base in a bit of a blitz move. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it was Lurkers, and Neeb would just lose that all the time. It's the same idea, but the difference is Zerg have a way to get out. I'm not trying to defend the Nidus Worm. I'm just saying it's really interesting because we've had versions of these tactics. The difference is just it's a Nidus Worm instead of Overlords. By the way, these queens getting fried alive by the Oracles. This attack's actually a huge blitz out of Drogo. I spent so much time responding to you guys. I didn't realize how much you'd set up for this. But cancels the transfer. I mean, the Oracles have already done the job of taking out the queens. That's huge. They can now focus fire the Roaches combined with the Adepts, and I think he wins this fight 9 times out of 10. But 11 drones die. Drogo could back away from this and be fairly satisfied. In fact, I'm a little bit confused. Okay, he goes to the main base. Trying to watch where the Adepts are going. I thought he was gonna, I was just like, you just kill a 3rd. It's a freebie, but obviously it's a lot better to kill units with Adepts than necessarily building. So the transfer goes through to the natural base. That 11 worker count, by the way, killed, goes up to 23 pretty quick. Loses an Oracle for this. Most of the Adepts are gonna die. But this is where we get into scary territory for Drogo. He's trying to recall the Adepts. He saves 2 of them. I think he only saved 1 of them. Yeah, the other one got killed right before the transfer. And despite how many drones just died, Most of the time, this opens up the opportunity for a huge counterattack out of the Zerg. They just march across the map with roaches, and it's game over. But a couple of interesting things are not going to allow that to happen. One is Elazer actually lost a couple of roaches in that fight. Oh, excuse me, queens and lings. I thought he lost roaches. I guess he just didn't build that many. Excuse me. But the point is, the amount of roaches he presently has, whether he built them or lost them, doesn't matter. The amount of roaches he presently has can't actually kill what's on the other side of the map. Because one of the big things is that Overlord that was here is only just like within the last 30 seconds been removed. He saw like 5 sentries and 2 immortals pushed up against that natural. He knew that there was actually the perfect counter waiting for those roaches. So again, well, most of the time this results in a counterattack and the Zerg wins. Not in this case, not this time. So Elazer's actually just in a pretty awkward spot right now where he doesn't have a great army. He doesn't really have tech backing that army up. And more notably, he doesn't have bases and workers over Drogo like he has in previous games. Most of the time, it's like 4 bases to 3, 5 bases to 3, 6 bases to 4, all in the favor of Zerg on 70 or more workers. But with the amount that were killed, Elazer had to spend so much money replacing those drones, an expansion just really wasn't in his future. Because you could play really greedy and take a huge risk as a Zerg player, but then that's where Drogo just walks all over you. I'm not sure about the Oracle sacrifice here. I really think Stasis Traps and Revelation would be worth it, but like what, 3 of them go down for 5 drones? Ugh. I mean, they already killed a lot, so it's not like, oh my god, they weren't worth it, but still, ugh, not the greatest way to have them go out, I think. When did they add that black smoke for expanding creep? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe there's some graphic you just haven't seen before because you play on low settings. I don't know. I tend to stream StarCraft on higher settings than most people play, so that, I don't know. I don't know what the smoke you're talking about. I'm trying to watch for it. I don't see it, though. I guess it's like a little cloud that bursts out when it completes. Okay. Worry about it later. Got a Warp Prism sitting in the main base with some Zealots locked and loaded. Got Wardy complaining in chat that the series still isn't done. Hey, Wardy, I hope you have a good day casting, man. I know I was teasing you earlier. This Warp Prism really wants to make use of the main base. We do have Swarm Host, by the way, coming out of Elazer. That's going to be a big change up. And, ooh, Swarm Host combined with a Nidus Worm, actually one of my favorite ways to watch Zerg players harass right now. Because we've seen it before, right? You march the Swarm Host all around the outside of the map, hope you don't get scouted, get over here, send the Locust to the main, kill the Nexus, laugh your way to victory. But it's harder to do that when your opponent has control of the map, which, by the way, Drogo has control of the map. So for Elazer, combining this with Nidus Worms is going to be like pop out here, launch the Locust, and then retreat safely back into the Nidus Worm. I think there's a lot of cool things that Elazer could do with what he has, I guess the tools available to him, but easier said than done. Overlords and Lings are going to get shut down. In fact, I don't think he even has Ling speed. So yeah, he doesn't really have a way to get around and put that Nidus Worm so easily. Maybe this won't be harassed. Maybe this will just end up being straight up Swarm Host, which I don't really agree with, especially with the amount of Storms and Archons that are going to be possibly available. But either way, for Elazer, he's got a really scary army that I think in one Blitz move could kill Drogos. But it's very unlikely he'll get that. Most of the time, I think that Drogo's just going to retreat, drop the Storms, retreat, drop the Storms, etc. Oh, we do finally get a Nidus Worm up here, by the way. This took a little bit of time, but Elazer's already been scouted, so Drogo will shut this down, hopefully. The big thing is he really doesn't want to let those Swarm Hosts out. If they pop out and launch their Locust, it's pretty bad news. So one credit to Drogo is he does have Pylons scattered, Zealots on patrol. Like, he's actively looking for these Nidus Worms, which, you know, every time a Nidus Worm pops up, it's always chaos, no matter how you look at it. Ooh, these Swarm Hosts are stuck inside the Nidus Worm. I hope he unloads them so he doesn't lose them. Oh, no. I think a couple of Swarm Hosts just died in there. Excuse me. I don't know if they all unloaded in time. Because I know one was killed by the Zealots, but I think 3 died inside at a quick glance. I'd have to somehow go back and watch that in slow-mo to confirm, but yeah, if you guys didn't see, Elazer desperately tried to put down another Nidus Worm. I think he was trying to save whatever units were stuck inside, but to be clear, if there's units inside a Nidus Worm and there's no exit and there's no tunnels, and that building is killed, then they're just gone. You can't save them by building a new Nidus network. They will just like be in a ton of waiting. So if some Swarmers did in fact die, then that just sucks. They're gone. It's not an issue you see come up too often. I do like this, though. Elazer staggering his Locust waves. I've actually commented a lot of this for Koreans because Koreans don't. And I know this sounds like a little bit presumptuous because I'm basing it off of like a couple of Koreans, but for the most part, every time I watch a Korean player use Swarm Host, they just like unload them all at once, no matter what the situation is. And I don't think that's the right way to use Swarm Hosts. I think Europeans figured this out really early in Heart of the Swarm, or excuse me, Legacy of the Void, because frankly, there's just more Zerg players in Europe, but staggering the Locust in almost every situation is typically better. And a lot of this just has to do with the pacing of the waves. You know, you come in with that first wave, storms clear them out, fine. Well, instead of wasting all your Locusts in the same storm, you get that second wave that follows it up. He also tried to get in here with said Locusts, but they're timing out already. They were just kind of left hanging for a bit of time. I'm not sure what Elazer was clicking on or focusing on, but it did cost him, because I think he had the opportunity to kill some Templar. He's going to try and dive bomb this now with these Locusts, but Locusts don't have much health. They're quickly dealt with by the Archons. 40 health is not much. Roaches dive in, but this is not looking good for Elazer. His army's on cooldown. The rest of it is getting slaughtered because it's Zealots and Immortals. Base goes down. GG's get called. Ladies and gentlemen, Drogo ends up taking the series 2-1. And I say good job to him. Today, we've had a lot of great games with a good set of expectations being disrupted, I think we'll say. And Drogo and Elazer was going to always be back and forth for me. I'd have to go to a Ligulac or something to figure out exactly who would win, but yeah, cool and good stuff. We're going to go to commercial break now, as my voice is dying on me. I'm not sure how long we have to wait till America starts up, if it can start up soon or if we have to wait. I'll check in with the admins while we're on break, but I'll come back with updates one way or another in about 3 minutes. So thank you in advance for watching these ads, and I'll let you know what's going on when I know what's going on. But either way, we are scheduled to cast Estrella versus Scarlet, so know at least that much. I'll see you guys soon.